Anyway, last section of the show. I have given the boys some homework and to look at ostensibly what we think are our three main rivals. Dr. Bart's got Chelsea, Sai got Man City, and Hamza got his second team, Arsenal. Sorry, teasing Hamza. But you've already started the Arsenal season preview there, the Arsenal state of the nation there with what you were. Do you want to carry on from where you left off there? We're talking about their rotations and so what's your view of Arsenal going into this season and where they are?
Yeah, so they made a number of key additions, and some I like, some I'm not too sort of keen on. I think the move for Mascara probably wasn't needed, but I think at that price point, it's a good value move. It's a young player, and he can develop, and he joins the centre-back rotation. Zubimendi, I think, is a good deal. Noni Madueke, I like generally, but I don't know why you'd get a player whose best position is in your best player's position. He's okay on the left. He's quite
unless
good
you know
on the
he's
right.
going to be unavailable for half the season. Maybe.
Yeah, but as in, then it becomes a matter of you've got 50 million to spend in him. There's an opportunity cost. Wouldn't you just use it elsewhere? And that's my sort of query with it. Gyökeres, I think many people would have seen Ian Graham speak about him the other day, I think on a podcast. I can't remember which one it was, but he mentioned how there is a translation between leagues that you often consider, and you apply like a multiplier in terms of goals, and he simplified it. But essentially, if you got a 25 goal striker in Portugal, they're not going to be worth 25 goals in the Premier League, obviously, because it's harder to score. I am not too keen on that signing. I think he's
did he say, by the way, what his weighting was for the Portuguese league? Because when we did Diaz on this channel a few years ago, we said about 85% of his.
What's that say?
24.
When we did Diaz,
it's 24% off.
Oh wow! So 24, you lose to 24%. Okay, wow, it's even more than I thought. That's really interesting.
But again, I think that's quite that's like the entry point, as in you that isn't the full analysis. That's just rough sort of rule of thumb.
So Christian Norgard, Hamza?
Yeah, I'm not at all a fan of that signing. It's just a body, and I think when people think about depth, I think they get it the wrong way, right? As in they go, okay, here's a body, here's some depth, but the squads, your squad doesn't actually play matches. Only 11 players play the game at a time, right? So when you bring on Christian Norgard for, let's say, Zubimendi, right, your team now gets worse. The 11 on the field that you are playing is not as good as the 11 that you had before. And that's why when you buy players, you should be looking to improve the quality of the squad. Where you move a starter onto your bench. So then when you make that sub in real time, you're not having a drop off, and you're not just thinking about minutes. You're actually still putting out a competitive player into onto the pitch. One person I spoke to, who is quite well respected in the data sphere, said, "What are they doing?" He didn't understand with Norgard. He was genuinely
Can I say my flippant response is, obviously, if your ultimate quest is to play an 11 solely consisting of centre backs and defensive midfielders, he allows you to do that.
Yeah,
the quest for ultimate control.
Yeah, But
anyway,
to return to their squad, in general, though, they are quite healthy.
Hincapie is a very good signing, Hamza. Hincapie is a very good signing. Plug and play with the Italian lad on what's his name? His name escapes me.
Calafiori,
yeah. So he's plug and play, exactly the same player, exactly the same profile role. Yeah, so that's good.
So they've got a lot of depth. I mean, so like they do have two players for each position, pretty much. Havertz is injured, but so is Gabriel Jesus. But they've got Gyökeres as well up front. On the left, they have Martinelli. They do still have Trossard. On the right, they've got Saka. They do have Waneri, who can fill in there or in attacking midfield. They'll use Max Darwin a bit. They've got Madueke as well, Odegaard. So these are guys that generally have a good sort of record in terms of turning out. The interesting thing as well is that most of this squad, the vast majority is in their prime. I think only 4 are above 28, and 28's not beyond. 28 is still prime, right? And of those 4, one's Marino, one's Raya is one, Kepa's another, and Trossard's another. So you're only talking about 2 players above 28 that are actual starters or first team players. Trossard's a depth option, Kepa's reserve goalkeeper, and Raya, it doesn't really matter that he's above 28 because he's a goalkeeper, right? They have much later peaks. So this is a group that's still very that's in their prime. What I think is interesting though is in terms of output. So last season they had 4 players above 0.47 xG plus xAG per 90. Expected AG being a goals assisted. Saka, Trossard, Havertz, Martinelli, and technically Jesus as well, but Trossard's minutes were actually quite small, so I'll take him out of that because it's a small sample. Liverpool, by comparison, had 7: Salah, Jota, Elliott, Diaz, Nunez, Szoboszlai, Gakpo. We can take Elliott out of that again because he didn't play too much. So you'd say initially, like Liverpool just have the advantage over them. They have more players that have attacking output just because of the way they play, their quality, that sort of stuff. However, I guess it's probably worth saying the season before they did have a high number of players with that sort of output. So Saka went at 0.65, Jesus was 0.62, Martinelli 0.58, Trossard 0.58, Havertz 0.54. So while their production last year was really low and they only had a few players that were going above 0.5, they have a history of going beyond that. So I wouldn't expect them to be as dull going forward this season. Their rolling XG on a 12-match basis, XG currently is 1.67. It's sort of fallen from the heights of 23, 24 when they reached a peak of 2.3 very briefly. The XGA at the moment, 12 match past 12 matches, 0.98 XGA, and their goal difference obviously is 0.68 per 90 over a 12-match run. Interestingly, their XG difference isn't that impressive, but neither is Liverpool's over the past 12 matches. It's 0.33. Which is which is a concern.
Yeah, those title dead rubbers though are rather. Just on the Arsenal, you were talking about the squad. They got 7 senior forwards plus Wanyeri plus Doman. That's a lot.
It is, yeah.
They got 7 senior forwards. Yeah, they're not going to keep all those boys happy anyway.
No, but at the moment, Havertz is out. Jesus is out, and I don't think they're going to rely on Jesus at all just because of his injury record. Martinelli, they're not keen on at the moment because his output's quite poor. Trossard is old, and not that dynamic anymore.
It's just maybe it's not a very efficient use of resources, always having 7 senior forwards like that, and plus the 2 young lads. Yeah.
I agree, but like I said, they're still in still at peak age, and what the outstanding quality of this team more than anything is their defensive numbers. So last season they had a 0.09 xG per shot faced. That's a really, really good record. So there are only 10 matches where they had equal to or greater than 0.1 xG per shot faced. There was one where they imploded. I think that was against us, but largely they managed to keep that number down quite well. And that's pretty much the key to their team. They keep matches at level games, so really sort of low event, and then try and hit them with set pieces. And once the game opens up, that's when they can actually open up the game a bit more. There's been a lot of talk about using more transitions, playing a bit more directly. But when I look at the first 3 matches, and again, small sample, not going to read too much into them, the volume of direct attacks isn't there yet. Neither is the speed at which they move the ball towards goal. So if they are going to change, we're yet to see it. But what I think is the ceiling of this team is just not comparable to Liverpool's. However, the midpoint, the mid-range is still pretty competitive because of their depth, because of their efficiency on set pieces, because of their good defensive numbers, and a few outstanding players like Saka. You have a player like that, he gets a goal or assist in key games, you're probably on your way to sort of 75 point minimum, and then you're looking at upside from there, I think, if he stays fit.
I have one question before I hand it over to the other guys for questions. I have one question. To improve their sticky attacking numbers from last season, Hamza, can they do it by playing the same balance of defenders and attack, or defensive minded players in the 11 and attacking minded players, or do they just have to play more attacking players in the 11?
I think they could probably have the balance somewhat the same, but play with more attacking intent, right? And I think that's important. When you look at how they transition, for example, they largely transition to the wings. They aren't looking to attack through the middle. It's a really strange phenomenon. You'll see them pick up the ball. They'll carry the ball forward. You're like, oh, this is a dangerous break. And then they'll pass it out wide rather than through the middle. They'll build it into steady possession and then just cross to have it. I think given the qualities of some of their players, like Saka, and when you look at how they attack, their share of attacks through the middle of the pitch is fairly low. A lot of their game is about super slow, steady build-up. If they played more direct, try to play counter-pressing football a bit more aggressively, I think they could actually get more output out of these players without necessarily putting on more attacking players. Okay. But at the same time, if they play with more attacking players, you'd expect higher output. But I think the tactics are probably just geared a bit too much towards a defensive emphasis. And if they change that, I think they could actually get more from the available players.
To quote a Wenger era Arsenal phrase, it's very much handbrake on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Playing with the handbrake on. But, and Si, any questions for the boy wonder on Arsenal? No. Okay. Okay, over, lads, what are we thinking? 74 points last season, Arsenal. Over or under this season?
I'd say they'd be over that.
Si's pointing down. Go on, Si. What are you thinking?
For lots of reasons, but their rolling 19 is 72 points. They are what they are. I'm going with that. Their rolling 19 is 72. Their rolling 38 is 73. It's actually 72.7. So 72 is what it is. I don't see why they're going to be better when the league's going to be better.
Doc?
Yeah, I still I go back to my point. I think the league's better, so the chances of them dropping points against more sides is increased. Therefore, I think they'll finish around the same points mark, if not below. I don't see how any of their signings have moved the dial to an 80-plus team.
I agree with that. I agree with that bit. That's for sure.
My feeling is with the opposition. The strength of the opposition's got a little bit better. I feel like they don't have ways to. They don't even set up in ways that create threat anymore. That they are. If you look the last 10 games of the season and into this season, and for most of the last season, to be fair, they were a set piece team, and set pieces. Yeah. Set piece coach. There's so much luck involved in set pieces, and their set piece luck will run out.
They should be a bonus to having a really good process, and if you've got a good set piece stuff on, that should be the bonus on the cherry on the top. Set pieces shouldn't be the cake; they should be the icing on the cake.
Yeah, it should take you away from a 1-goal win to a 2-goal win, or break the deadlock, and then the rest of your play goes and makes it 3, 4, 5, 6. They can't do that.
So my prediction is they will just scrape the 2 points a game, 76, purely because I don't think they will have as many as bad. They did have the bad decisions last. They had more than their fair share of bad decisions from the refs and the officials, and I don't think they'll get quite as badly treated this season. Although I'm sure if Hamza has his way with the global refereeing conspiracy, it will continue. So, but yeah, I think they'll have slightly better luck, and maybe 76 for them.
I think there are two penalties that season, and Max Daumann is skilled at winning them. I'm not going to say anything mean about a child.
He's a cheating queen, that lad.
But he's a child, so he's good at winning penalties.
So you're the most optimistic on Arsenal, and you're saying 80. Are you saying, Hamza?
Yeah, I think it's fair that they had a few red cards to key players, and I don't like to over-index that, to be honest. But I think they probably just would get more points from those matches, and I think maybe 1 or 2 was a little bit unfair, and I think the Saka injury was key. If Saka's largely fit for this season, I think they were around 80.
I think they were second bottom of the VAR table as well. They were second bottom of the net VAR table. I think Wolves were bottom. Yeah. Wolves will bottom because they tried
I'd
to
scale
get-
them down if Saka gets injured. Their attack is really reliant on him. So we'll see how they work. But that's where I would.
Si, I asked you to look at Man City.
I
Thoughts
did.
on Man City?
Well, so we'll preface this with I don't watch enough football to have opinions on other teams. I only watch Liverpool. And I was surprised with how crap City are. Going through their data, I'm like, this can't be real. This really can't be real. So all of the underlying metrics and everything are down. Their processes are off, and it's been a long trend. Very much they are in an overhaul, a situation where Pep is trying desperately to overhaul. I kind of was paying a little bit of attention in that I thought he would have gone last season. I thought he was going at the end of the season. For 2 years, I thought that he was lined up to go when Klopp went. I thought they were going together, and I wonder if the whole 115 thing, blah blah blah. I think if that threw a spanner in the works from the owners, they want him to stay around while this thing's. I think there's lots of political stuff going on at City. I don't think Pep is Pep anymore. I have a long-held belief in the 3-year rule. You have to turn one over all the other, and all of a sudden throwing all your players away and bringing new ones in, it just doesn't work. But I can see what advantage bringing Pep in, like Hamza was saying, might be. I can understand the strategy of doing that, right? But there is an aging thing with coaches as well that I've talked about before. There is a peak age, and there are always exceptions to the rule, and Pep seems to not be one of them. He set a very long peak, but he is 6 years away from his peak teams now, and he has sustained the slide. He has managed to hold back the angle of the slide, but it's definitely there if you look at the underlying numbers from his peak years. And I think we're just at the end of this Pep cycle. It seems statistically that way. I thought there would be, looking back over a 3-year period of the overhaul from the last time they won the league, I thought I'd bought into the whole narrative around De Bruyne and Ederson's leaving, and their great players are all coming to the end of their lives. Bernardo's not even that old; he's only 30. I thought he was 36. He's played like a wily, really old fella for years.
Si, it's not the age; it's the mileage.
Maybe he does put a ton of mileage in, but there was lots of talk last season about how fast they were or how they lacked the ability to get around the pitch, and the statistics just didn't show that at all. That the midfield in itself, they lacked explosive speed. They didn't lack the ability to get around the pitch at all. But we in the past have lacked explosive speed in the middle when we won a league. So I think it's possible to mitigate that. I think it's possible to create a functioning system that works without a fast midfield. And I just think maybe they're not. Like the caveat to everything I say here is that Rodri at his best and Haaland at his best are good enough to improve the rest of the team so that they can be a high 80s points team. Just with those two utterly brilliant players, there's no argument from us at how brilliant those two players are. All of the players around them, they're a mixture of potential, froth, which is something that Pep doesn't tend to fall in love with, and he seems to have. And one-pace aging old prima donnas who don't have a lot left.
So, as somebody with many England connections, Si, what has happened to Phil Foden?
So it goes down another data set that I have spent the last 5 years looking at and researching.
He was player of the
PFA.
year, player of the season. He was PFA player of the season 2 years ago.
So he was brilliant, but he was also overhyped. He wasn't the best player in the league that year. But
yeah, he scored a lot of goals from outside the box, didn't he? Yeah.
I love Phil
the
Foden.
Ballon d'Or winner was the best player that season, but the English journalist got it wrong. And the PFA.
Yeah. Phil Foden is a brilliant footballer, right? Don't get it wrong. I'm not a City fan. I'm not a Phil Foden character fan. He is a brilliant footballer. If you play under 21s more than 3,500 minutes a season, they stop playing well by the time they're 24. It goes across everywhere, across the dawn of time. You can point to those fellas that it's not true in, but they are world-class all-time footballers. They are the huge exceptions. You can't name the 4,000 other lads because you've forgotten them.
Yeah.
They all used to play for Barcelona.
So just to summarise what you were saying about City's elite, Pep being past his peak season, but all these players left this window: Edison, Akanji, De Bruyne, Gundogan, Walker, Grealish. That's a lot of senior players from that peak team who've gone.
For sure. So you've got champions. So you've got 70%, you've got 74%, you have 86%. You're missing Alvarez out there, who got 68%. He didn't go this season, he went last season.
Yeah,
but he was 68. The last championship winning team, Alvarez got 68% of game time. De Bruyne actually only got 34. And last season also 34. He was a bit part player both seasons, but he's still an incredible character who can. I would guess that his big goal involvement per minute was still the highest in the league in both those games, in both those seasons.
And I think the biggest thing for me, before I throw it up into the other guys on City, is that I just don't think the quality of their recruitment has dropped quite a lot. I think this is back to the Mark Hughes era Man City, or maybe Manuel Pellegrini era Man City signings, because they've signed 3 goalkeepers this season. Reinders, Aït-Nouri, Ryan Cherky, who's basically, I'm going to be mean, piss off a lot of our French listeners, the French Harvey Elliott. I just don't get it. I mean, there's one player I think who's their good signing there, which is Aït-Nouri, probably because he's Premier League proven as well, and he's a good player. But if you combine that with the January window, and like Nico Gonzalez and all the players, it just doesn't look like the level of recruitment is there. They just don't think the players they're bringing in are good enough.
See, I think that what they've done is strategic and deliberate. They have gone for really young players. So they've gone from an average of their 15 most used players, they've gone for an average of 25.9 and they're down to 24.3 for this season.
Yeah, true.
So they've gone for 2 years' time, they're going to develop into champions. That I don't think they are planning to be champions this season, looking at their age profile. 24.9 doesn't win a league. And like historically, it just doesn't. I didn't realise quite how young that Savinho was, or Savio, whichever way you want to call him, right? He's 20. Yeah. I had no idea. Honestly, I thought he was 24 and I'd just not heard of him. I just presumed he'd played his first part of his career in Brazil. But no, he's just a child. His actual numbers are really, really good. Doku is wank. He's just famous.
He's only 23 though, but it's a really good point about their age of the squad. But I just don't get.
But they've gone right through the team. They've done that. They've bought the Kusanov guy who they're hoping to catch.
21. Yeah.
Catch lightning. 20. Yeah, hoping to catch lightning with that. I don't understand the Donnarumma thing and the Trafford thing, because neither of them are good with the ball at the feet. So they're going to play in a different way. Maybe they're going to go longer to Haaland. I don't know. They've just made some significant transfer mistakes in the last 3 years, and we are left with it. But
all I'm going to say though is if those players, if Liverpool had signed those players, I would not be very happy with that many on that list of players that we'd signed. So,
for sure.
Bart, Hamza, any questions for Si on Man City?
No, I think Si's covered. I think Si's point, the key point for me there was that you still have two outstanding players in that 11. That if they come up to anywhere near their best, they will still win the majority of games in the Premier League, whether we like that or not. Wolves' first game of the season, Haaland gets a hat trick. It's a hat trick, or 2 goals and 2 assists. They weren't great, but Haaland was there, bullied the Wolves centre halves and scored the goals and set them up, and that's a platform. And if Rodri comes back and plays anywhere near like even an 8 out of 10 of what he used to be able to do, he's still one of the best DMs in the league. And Stones is still not a bad centre half to play behind him if he's fit. I can't remember if Diaz still there. I can't remember, but they've still got remnants of a spine that actually, if you get them out for anywhere near 75% of the important games, they're going to get the points that are going to get them in and around to Arsenal's total, I believe. The problem is getting them out for that percentage of games. That's the problem. The fringes around are kind of, Pep's always been like that. Look at all of his sides. His fringe, as in the sides, have always been a bit functional, not really key. It's always been the spot. If he gets the spine of his side out, he normally wins games, right? The Bayern side, the fringes were good players, but it was about getting the spine of his side out. It's the same for his Centurions and all of it. It's about that core side, and that's still a very good spine, whether we like it or not. It's just, can he get that spine out on the pitch enough? Donnarumma's not great with his feet, but he's a great shot stopper. And that's some of the issues that Edison was having the end of last season, was that he wasn't doing that. That he could be the greatest at your feet, but if he can't actually save the ball's shots going that you are letting go near you, because you're letting more shots on target if you haven't got a DM, there's no point. The balance, the risk reward is not in the right way. So I can see the Donnarumma from that perspective, but Si's right, they are going to have to change the way they play with Donnarumma because he's not got the same ability with his feet. So that's not really a question, just a more
observation.
An observation. Sorry,
Hamza, City.
I think they're in a really interesting place, and I'm not actually too sure. So if you look at their expected goal difference from 2017-18 onwards, it roughly exists. If you imagine a line chart and you've got 1 here and then 2 above it, obviously they exist in that range pretty much. They fluctuate, but it's always above 1, and that carries all the way up to their like 250th game in the league and the Pep, and it slightly drops under 1. It has like and this is a 90-match rolling average to nadir of 0.73. And then you get to last season where you have this ridiculous drop where it actually the trough is 0.12. So you have that point, and that's the lowest point they've ever been over a 19-match period, and that is poor. And then it rises again. So now they're at 0.65, and the reason for that change was that in that period where they reached that low point, it was their expected goals against. So it was really, really low, right? High, sorry. So they've averaged 1.61 per 90 over a 19-match period. That has slightly calmed now, but it's still around 1. So it's 1.07, and their attacking output fell as well. I think their attacking output is going to increase again. So it's average of 1.72 at the moment. It's always been roughly like sort of 2 or more, and I think that's pretty normal to expect. So I think their expected goal difference is going to get towards 0.8, I think. And I think that's probably competitive. But I'm not sure, just because you have this massive sort of fall off and then a spike again towards more normal levels. But I think we're at a point where it might go either way. But I mean, there's a few different ways they could take this. I mean, you've got Linders, right? They could play a full transitional game, and you've got Marmoush. Even though I agree with Si, I don't think Doku's great. His output isn't great. But let's say you play Marmoush, Haaland, Doku, Reinders. Reinders isn't a great defensive player, but it's in transition with Ait Nouri and the right back who's a midfielder, Neves.
Nunes.
Mateus Nunes, sorry. I mean, that's enough attacking talent to blitz most teams. You could go full sort of Liverpool 17-18 on the league with that, right? If you play full transition ball. I don't know if they'll do that. I don't think they will do that.
Don't you think though that we're in a different phase of the league now? So that I was talking with some coaches yesterday about what happened with Mourinho, and I just feel like people learn, and we're in a really, I think, a very positive time for coaching. In that, I also wonder if this has been driven by tacticos on the internet. that there's a curiosity around coaching, around learning, around problem solving that didn't exist 15 years ago. You just had a tactical plan, that was it, and you played one against another. And there's a constant now learning of how I can solve this problem. Players are even asking about it. What happens if this guy does this to me? Where on the pitch is going to be the stress point? This is really interesting. And I don't know if Pep Lijnders from 3 years ago, from 5 years ago, his transition tactics can work against Brentford, against Bournemouth, against Brighton, against teams that already know how to counteract this thing. So I don't know if maybe Pep Guardiola knows that his system requires the greatest player on earth to beat these other teams, so he needed to evolve out of it because everyone else has figured it out. When I say figured it out, it doesn't mean they won't win ever. It just means that the marginal gain's not there anymore, that the tipping point might be towards the lesser team now. So occasionally, it's not enough for 100 points. It might not be enough for 85 points anymore. So he's looked and seen that he has to evolve tactically. He's got Pep Lijnders in. Let's do this other thing instead. And I just wonder if, just like with Mourinho, it's too dated. Everybody else has become more sophisticated. And I think there's a level of nuance in all coaching, which is so much deeper than there was at any time in history. It's much more like all the coaches in England, they feel like they've been to Coverciano to the Italian coaching course rather than the FA one.
So, City predictions. Si, start with you. 74 points last year. Over or under?
So their rolling 19 is on for 72. Their rolling 38 is 65.
Yeah, mediocre.
I think because I predicted they'd be second in the league, and then they've started garbage. Did you
see them against Al Hilal in the World Cup?
God
no, because they were
Arsenal. I'm not watching them against that guy.
Yeah, no, honest to God, they were just garbage. Then I just thought there's no people are saying City are back. There's no chance they're back at all. They're not even close.
You've got too many individuals. So I would. So Rodri, Haaland, they can drag an 85-point team. I'm looking at their team going like Reinders is going to score a few sexy goals. Blah 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 blah. Savio might be the only potential difference maker because I think looking at his underlying numbers, you've got a potential Brazilian starter kid there with top numbers. So if he hits that as a 20-year-old, anything could happen. But I think it's really unlikely, and I don't think their processes look like they're going to drag another 15 points out of their current 38-game jam. And just as a little bit of a rebuff.
So are you going sub 70, say?
Yeah, I'm going to no, because they've got Haaland. If Haaland doesn't get injured, they're going to get 80 points.
Oh right, I thought we were going to see. I thought we said less than 74.
He had missed games. This is what. So I'm going to go with what I predicted at the beginning of the season. A little bit like what Hamza did with Arsenal. That we're looking at the numbers and going, it can't be that bad. I'm going above what the numbers say.
Okay, so you're going 80. But
I'm going 80 points for Haaland.
I'm going mid-70s. I know I said to come second because I think they've got those two players that could turn around games against. I know the dross doesn't really exist anymore, but I think there's still teams out there that would suffer if Haaland turns up, and that's enough to get you for me mid-70s points. So 76 for me. If Arsenal don't turn things around, I think there's even a chance they finish second above Arsenal. But there you go.
Yeah, I don't like the business at all.
No, I think the business is rubbish now. I completely agree with you. They just still have a get out of jail free card.
I don't think they're as good as Arsenal, and Arsenal got loads of flaws. I'm actually going City to finish fourth and sub 70, 68 points.
Oh yeah, 68.
Also, as you all know, I have zero respect for Pep Lijnders as well, so I think he'll be a bad influence on City. Hamza, your verdict on City?
I did this last season. I was wrong. I wrote a piece where I diagnosed all their problems. One of my editors said I read the piece, but I disagree with your conclusion. My conclusion was that Pep would fix it just because of his history of fixing issues. Right? in that example, I over-indexed I'd still do this. I think the methodology of looking towards a really solid base of data and then maybe having one aberration season or 3 months and thinking actually we can discount that. I think that methodology is still probably all right, and for that reason and because of Haaland, and I think his floor is still 23 goals. I think he's probably going to hit 25, 28, maybe 30. And I think that just immediately puts you in that 80-point range. And I'd go 83, actually. I think against the data that I've cited earlier, I think there's still enough there to beat the dross, to be honest. And in that Brighton match, yeah, they were awful in the final 30 minutes. In the first 60, they're okay. And they probably should have scored. And you take one goal, you have the game state advantage, you probably score another. In what was the other match they played? Sorry, they dropped points against Spurs.
Tottenham.
Spurs, I think, are just a bit difficult and use set pieces quite well. I think we're going to learn quite a bit about them in the next week and a half. They play United, then Napoli away, and then on the Thursday, and then Arsenal.
So so we didn't have much of a range between us on Arsenal, but we've gone from 68 to 83 points there on Man City.
The key thing is, right, so Arsenal don't have like top end players, right? Saka's really good. He's really good, and below that, I think they're just decent players. Some good ones. Saliba's very good as well. But I mean, City have got Rodri and Haaland. These are players that are absolute like world-beating difference makers that can change any game at any time. Like I talk about with Alisson or Van Dijk or Salah.
Yeah.
At any moment, they can just swing a game for you. These world-class players. And I think these qualities they count for a lot. So I think if Rodri gets back and he's fit,
if he can get back, and if he can show the levels, then But as Cyrus says, it takes the length of time you've been out with your ACL. That's how long it takes you to get back up to the period before you got your injury, and he's already 29. So let's see. Anyway, Bart's got the hardest task of the lot, talking about Chelsea. Now, just as I put it to you, Bart, that just as Chelsea were getting a pretty good team together last season, they were the best team in the last third of the year, and there's some pretty good underlying numbers as well. They go still do Chelsea things and rip up the squad and do massive amounts of churn. So
I know.
I just read through it quickly, right? They let go Madueke, Nkunku, João Felix, Petrovic, Ugachukwu, Dewsbury Hall, Vega, Breuer, Chukwuemeka, Nicholas Jackson, and a few other Kepa, Bettinelli. Ben Chilwell went to their bloody partner club, which is a bit of a disgrace in Strasbourg, and then a Chelsea feeder club. But yeah, unbelievable amounts of churn, and then they go and sign João Pedro, Jamie Gittins, Alejandro Garnacho, Jarell Hato, Liam Delap, Estevao, Dario Asugu, Mohamed Sarr, Kendry Paez, and Facundo Buonanotte on loan from Brighton. Which, when you've just signed four of the forwards, signing Facundo Buonanotte on loan from Brighton just seems absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I had it on the screen for you, so I was just saying I had it ready to go for you. But no, it's just Chelsea being Chelsea, right? I mean, you look at what they've basically made a profit. They've spent more, just only spent £4 million more than they've sold. I mean, that's just nuts from Chelsea perspective. See, they have got, but I also don't think they've actually fixed a lot of the problems they had. If you look at their squad, I still think they've got injuries at centre half, and they tried to combat that by signing Hato, a guy that we targeted, who's primarily played left back for Ajax, so he's not really a centre half for them. You're right; they brought one of your favourites to play up front, and then sold another forward, and then the other forward they brought to play with, who they've been playing with, Pedro, got injured. So it's kind of the way. It's like one step forward, one step back. They are playing Neto now more in the first team than last season he was in the reserve team. So that didn't really hasn't worked out. I'm not sure Garnacho is a great player for him. Cole Palmer's doubtful, and Lavia is always consistently injured for us. So yeah, I'm not sure in terms of how that moves forward. Last game they played with a double pivot of Hernandez and Caicedo, which is pretty good. But we know that some of the better periods, they had Lavia and Caicedo next to each other, and Fernandez playing in the 10. How that's going to work now, they've got Pedro, I'm not sure. But yeah, I still think they've got a lot of the same issues they had last season, i.e. the goalkeeper, I think, is still not top four quality, even if they made...
Well, I don't think there's any debate about that. He's blatantly not. Yeah.
He's not. And at centre-half, I still think they're missing... I think they've got good centre-halves. I just don't think they've got a top-level centre-half, if that makes sense. I think they're good centre-halves. I just don't think they've got a Gabriel or Saliba. They haven't got a Van Dijk. I don't think they've got that level of centre-half to play at the back. But fullbacks are fullbacks. They get what they need out of them. But, yeah, so in terms of recruitment, as you said, they did a Chelsea thing. They turned a load of players over. They kept some good players. I'm not sure they fixed all the areas they wanted to fix. They might create problems, as they always do going forward. But I did do a boring stat. I said to you guys in that it felt dirty running a stats back on Chelsea, but I did it for you anyway. So top level, annoyingly, if you were going, this is only this season because I really didn't have that much patience to go and dig out all of Chelsea's games from the last few from last season. So, but if you look at where they are, annoyingly, a lot of their metrics are kind of in line of what we said Liverpool should be doing. So their threat difference is 1.17. Their XG difference is currently 1.43. They currently only let the opposition convert a threat just below 50%, which is kind of what we said defensively benchmark. They're at 70% conversion per threat to XG, which we said 80% or above. So they're kind of doing a lot of stuff that we would like us to do more. Their pass completions in around 80 is what you expect. Possession just below 60. So yeah, they're doing a lot of the right processes for me from the numbers that we normally look up for us in a very well, and they're keeping the opposition the other way. In terms of where they are for game state, to be annoying for you, if I've got that, yeah, I've got that. They're operating, they're doing a lot of the things that we were doing. So if you look at a threat conversion for drawing, they're keeping them down. If you look at it in terms of when they're leading, they turn their threat up to max and they turn the opposition down. So there's a lot of the good things that Slot managed to get Liverpool to do. Granted, it's small sample size. They seem to have managed to do. Monte Carlos will tell you they should have won all their points. So they should be 9 out of 9. And they should have scored more than Lake City, which is not far off what they did. So I think they got lucky. Is it Fulham game? They got lucky with the VAR decision. Was that right? Looking at referee association handler for that confirmation, but I think that's probably about right. So I think the Monte Carlo should have got 9 out of 9. They're not quite on that. I think their recruitment is interesting as always. A lot of their metrics in the right place. We're going to find out where they are in terms of going forward for their fixtures coming up. If I can just get them on the next one. So their next set are... So they have got Brentford coming up. Then they go away to Munich. They got United. They got easy game in the Carabao Cup, as everybody has. Then they got Brighton at home, Benfica, and then they got us. So the next set we should find out fairly soon, particularly Munich away and then United. We should see how good this Chelsea side is in terms of what they're doing with the ball. Not going to too much into their patterns, but they are annoyingly into the areas that we would want us to be in, as we are. All the half spaces in zone 14, they get in a good succession rate with a lot of progressive passes. Even at game state, they're doing it at the right time. And then when they're drawing, they're upping the tempo, increasing the length of the pass. And when they're in garbage time, they're also doing the easy enough thing, which is kind of following what Slot did. So, yeah, I think there's some interesting patterns in terms of where they're looking to create at different periods of the time, and where they kind of back off at drawing, which is kind of what we started to do, which is a bit more conservative. So, yeah, defensively... I just remember what I was remembering this one. They do what they do with the ball post winning it is odd. They look to play it into the final third really quickly, and that's on all the maps, which is a bit like we would typically play around and go into midfield and then go into the final third. They seem to want to win it and get it into final third quickly. Conversely, they let the opposition do that quite a lot. So when the opposition are playing Chelsea, they're looking to win and immediately attack the space behind their back four. from a tactical. That's what all the game stays, all of the data from all 3 games so far. That's what the opposition are doing when they win the ball back against Chelsea. So yeah, shot wise, just to see where they're taking shots from. If it loads up, fairly centrally point. I don't think they've got anything outside the box, which again is something Slot tried to do. So yeah, they're a bit of an annoying place, I would say. A lot of the metrics are looking good for Chelsea. But I had a period last season where they looked good as well.
Yeah, and I think I know Hamza said it at least 10 times already. It's only 3 games, small sample size and all that.
Yeah.
But sometimes when, like Liverpool last season, you can see good things even after 3 games, even after 1 game, 2 games, you can see things. And I don't like the way that Chelsea are lining up this season. I think there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of real positive indicators there right across the board, Barts, and I think it's a little bit of a concern. And for God's sake, they've got an extra 1.4 expected goal difference per match at the moment. I mean, they won't sustain that levels, but they look almost certain to sustain it above +1. Even now, I would say it's difficult to see Chelsea finishing lower than 1 expected goal difference per match. And if they can do that, they're not going to be far away from the league title.
I know I said it's small sample size, but annoyingly, a lot of the metrics are exactly where you want them to be, exactly what we said we should be in. So that threat conversion thing for me is like, that's almost bang on when we said the threshold should be. The threat difference as well as over 1. It's a bit something to keep an eye on. The next bunch of league games will really test them. So we'll see where they are, and then we play them at the end of that long run. So that'll be quite interesting. They have got charges, Greg. You are correct.
74.
That's 74, not 115. So they're second place there as well. But it'd be. I think you're right, Darth. It's annoying. Chelsea do have a way of self-destruction, though. Remember when they were on a good run last season? He came out and said, "I wasn't expecting to win."
They've still got Raheem Sterling there on the back.
They've still got Sterling. Didn't manage to get rid of him.
They've still got Mudryk somewhere. I mean, is he banned? Is he not banned? Who knows?
I
mean, where is Mudryk? Yeah, but they've still got him there.
Yeah,
I think a squad of 55 players. Yeah,
but if we're going by the data,
there
are some really positive signs there, and I think if we were ignoring that, fine. But if you're going by the data, I think for me they look a really strong bet for challenging us a lot longer than did last season.
So last 69 points. But I am going higher. I'm going quite a bit higher. I'm possibly going as high as 80 for Chelsea.
Yeah, I've been reviewed. I think I'm going high 70s.
Okay. Sai, Hamza, questions to Bart on Chelsea? Your thoughts?
The only stat one of the stats that stood out to me last season was their expected goal difference at home was 0.96, which was really good. It was the second best in the league, but away it was 0.12. So that's the area for them. I mean, everyone struggled away from home last season, pretty much apart from Liverpool. That was the one massive advantage we had over the rest of the league. Improvement there would help them quite a lot. I think Estevao is a really, really good player.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about him. Yeah, he looks like a top talent. Yeah,
it's weird for a club that buys exclusively like young talents that they've only had 2 that look genuinely world class, like Palmer and him. But yeah, this is actually one. I think it's going to be really good. I watched him play live once, and I was really taken by him. He looks ready to play Premier League football, and should take some attention away from Palmer, I think, who's had a bit of a lull since January. I don't think he's scored an open play, but he's still pretty influential. I don't know if he'll get as many goals, but he's still pretty decisive. So
I think it's fair to say as well, I know we always give him stick, but when Reece James is actually on the pitch, he does make a big difference to Chelsea. The problem is keeping him on that pitch. And
their midfield is just, Caicedo, Fernandes, Palmer, or Lavia. It's just a pretty high quality.
Very athletic. Very
good players in there.
Yeah.
Very good players in there. For the system they want to play, they're a good set of players in the middle of the park.
Prediction, Hamza?
I'd put them very high 70s. Let's say 79 up to.
So you're going City second, Chelsea third, Arsenal fourth.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay. Si, last word on you. I know you hate Chelsea.
I hate Chelsea. I think Chelsea could. I think Chelsea easily could finish higher than Arsenal. And that being said, they could easily jump ahead of City. I think Cole Palmer is the most overrated player in the world, and Reece James might be very close. Reece James has played a third of the minutes of. So I saw a thing the other day of Reece James, Trent, Hakimi, and Timber, and he's played a third of their minutes. They're the same age.
Yeah. Nuts,
so I don't care if you're good when you're on the pitch. If you're not on the pitch, who cares? Yeah. You don't win games. And I think Cole Palmer's right on the edge of getting injured as well. So that's my prediction, is that he continues his next 17 months of a bit of a lull without creating or scoring anything, because he's injured.
Have his minutes massively spiked then?
Cole Palmer, yeah, huge.
Because he didn't play much at City and then just went straight into first team.
Exactly, and but he also had the big growth injuries in the first place.
Yeah,
while he was a teenager. So yeah, he's never built it up. He's just went bang. He just went nothing. First team international.
Right. Anyway, I guess I'm going to wrap up by saying it's been a mega pod and it's past bedtime, but we're all still picking Liverpool for the league. Yes.
Yes.
More than before. Yeah. I'm going higher. We're currently on for 92 points, 50 goal difference, 50 XG difference, and City are on for 17 XG.
So, are you saying we're going to win it by Christmas, Si?
I think it's done by February.
Ooh. Hamza, are you still picking us for the league?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 4 out of 4 then. So that's the happy ending. So that's been your International Break Mega Pod. Thanks for tuning in. Give us your feedback always. We love it. Until then, we will be back after the Brentford game, probably Monday evening, I suggest, lads. But we can pick it up offline. If it's not Monday, it'll be next Tuesday. Until then, up the fucking Reds.
It's Burnley, Darth.
What did I say?
Brentford.